You have to remember that. What they learned from the UK case is to demonize Amber, which is what they did, and to try to suppress as much of the evidence that came in the UK and did not come in the United States.
Elaine has been under fire for some time now over the defamation case between Johnny and Amber, particularly because she lost while representing the latter. But it looks like Amber doesn't plan to let the loss go just like that. But what the actress doesn't know is that her own trial lawyer, who was a party to the entire case all the while it was on, has some thoughts on the possible outcome of her new moves. And I'm not going to say it all, but I'll just tell you that she thinks the actress might be way overboard with this one. And that's only where her views on the whole thing begins. Interested in knowing more on the thoughts of Elaine on the case? Then stick with me through it.
And she has some excellent grounds for it. We even had tried to get the UK judgment in to dismiss his case because he already had his shot. And that's one of the issues, but also a number of the evidentiary issues. There was so much evidence that did not come in.
I know you just heard her say Amber had excellent grounds for filing the appeal at the time, but it seems that might have just been a PR stunt. Because according to the new developments in the case, things aren't looking particularly pitchy with Team Amber, especially considering that Elaine now sees things a lot more clearer than she did when she was in their camp. There's more. So you see, before the verdict of the case was passed and came out overwhelmingly in Johnny's favor, Team Amber had already lost all form of credibility in the court of public opinion, as people were already able to decipher her lies from when she was on the stand, and the verdict was supposed to be their saving grace, but it didn't come as they planned, which basically backed the actress into the only corner available, which was the appeal she filed. And while they've been clamoring that they are more than confident the appeal is going their way, several expert lawyers seem to think that won't be the case. And it seems Elaine might be one of those people, and I'll tell you why. You see, in most cases when people appeal a judgment, there's usually a reason, which is almost always related to due process not being followed in the main case, which would generally create ground for the losing party to appeal for a change in the verdict. But that's not the case here, and that is also why Amber's team hasn't even brought it up as a factor at all. However, she has also given us the inkling that she has some big plans to change the verdict, and the first of these was the change in her representation. Per the announcement that came from the actress's camp, a spokesperson announced Amber had retained David L. Axelrod and J. Ward Brown of law firm Ballard Spahr to lead her counsel. Ben Rottenborn was also said to remain as co-counsel, while Elaine Charleston Bredehoft will step down. But while it might seem like just a random change, it's actually a little more complicated than that.
Okay? And so I guarantee you one of the things they're going to do on appeal is they're going to go after Elaine for ineffective assistance of counsel. I would be shocked if they didn't do that. There were so many times where she just threw her hands up and she just got her ass handed to her, if we remember. And so
according to the experts who followed the Virginia case closely, this was actually the plan from the start, as the change in her representation was going to be brought up during the appeal on the grounds of inadequate representation from Elaine. And if we're being honest, Elaine wasn't actually the best lawyer, but this won't be applicable here because the appellate court is only going to be considering the exact same facts from the case. Which brings me to the second grounds Amber mentioned, and this one actually came from a representative in her camp. They started, when it comes to protecting the fundamental right of freedom of speech, we look at the jury's decision, to paraphrase a famous quote, not as the beginning of the end, but merely the end of the beginning. Heard spokesperson said, a different court warrants different representation, particularly as so much new evidence is now coming to light. You see the evidence the individual is referring to here. Yeah, that's just a publicity stunt, as nothing that was excluded from the Virginia trial, including the UK ruling Amber has been going on about, will be considered in the appeal hearing. And not only that, the judges will actually side with Johnny since the jury already found that he won. And that's just not going to be tossed to the side. And just like with the experts, this has also got a lot of fans on social media talking, and some of their takes might actually surprise you. One user who was talking about the evidence presented wrote, "What else would you expect from her? She even already said on the stand that she provided the evidence, and it's not her job to present it. She was blaming her team for not presenting instead of thinking for a second the reason could have been that it wasn't admissible." Another user who has a slightly different point of view wrote, "Even if by some rare moment she was able to win an appeal, I think JD would also win his. The HS rep is already damaged practically beyond repair. She keeps reminding the public of it. There's a message for Amber somewhere in these tweets by the fans, and for her sake, I just hope she can find it. Anyway, remember that these are based on theories and research and should be considered as such. That's it for now. I'll see you on the next one."